Secretary. Whitney Castle. My understanding was with regard to U.S. support for Syrian rebels over the last year or two, one of the main restraints was that they could not fight Assad directly, and that this was a severe limitation and part of the reason the plan didn't work. When you recommend supporting additional training for Syrian rebel groups, would you advise them to allow them to fight Assad, or is that a part of the conflict that we don't want to get involved in?
Well, back in the first term, when Leon Panetta and Dave Petraeus and I made our recommendation about vetting and arming Syrian moderate rebels, the target was Assad. It was to defend themselves and be able to prevent the military taking over territory and creating the kind of humanitarian disaster that obviously we've all seen. So that was what we recommended back in the first term. Since then, I know it's been a very difficult task for our government to take on and pursue successfully. But one of the challenges has been trying to draw lines. And you draw lines because you want to be able to vet and follow what happens to the arms that you are equipping people with. But what happened to some of the few groups that have been trained is that they were quickly overrun by much more hardened fighters who were fighting Assad. So it was a very hard task to do 2 or 3 years later. I think it might have been, but again, I've said many times, I can't predict sitting here what would have happened if we had moved earlier. It might have worked, it might not have worked, but you can't really take Syrians who are rebelling against Assad and tell them they can't use their training and their weapons against the person who, as I said in my speech, has killed far more Syrians than ISIS has to date.
Let me ask